Okay, so here we go, looking at demand. So if we're looking in our workbook, we're on number 3, and we want to choose one of the items we've identified as having an increase in demand. So let's go take a look at what that means. We're going to go to our textbook, and we're looking at an increase in demand, right? So this is, we just did the introduction. This is our changes in supply and demand. So we looked at the quinoa story, and now we're going to look at some modeling. So here we have books, right? We're working on used books for college students. We have 40 students every year, pay about $8 a book. There's about 24 sold. And that's kind of the point of equilibrium, right? So that's sort of like the norm of where things pretty much end up, right? So we have our supply curve and we have our original demand, right? Here's our 40 students. These are the number of books, the total possibility of books that could be sold, and these are the total amount of prices that the books could be sold for. So right now I'm selling 24 books, okay, at $8. That's my maximum demand that I'm going to have based on my supply, right? If my books were free, all 40 students would grab them. These used books being at $8, I'm getting 24 of them sold. Okay, so that's my equilibrium. That's where it normally is every year. Now something changes. Okay, we have a new demand. They added a new section of the course. We suddenly have more students. Because we have more students, now they all want to buy the book at the best possible price. Okay, our demand for the book has shifted to the right. More people want more books. Okay, and how much more we can say, we can always look at that zero. It looks like we have, almost 60 students now. Went from 40 to maybe 58, right? So there's more people want those textbooks. Okay, so what happens next? What we have now is excess demand, okay? So if the price remained at $8, there'd be excess demand for the books, right? These are my supply of books. There would be more buyers than sellers, right? Because the buyers are over here now. This many people would buy that book for $8, okay? But we don't have that many books available at that price, right? This is my supply line, okay? So if I was going to be selling that book for $8, right, I'd have to bring my price over to here to my new demand line, and I would need to have maybe 38 books, but I don't, right? I have my 24 books that are available for $8, okay? So the supply is not there to meet the demand, right? Okay, so going back, and I'm just going to go back to here. So then what we have is we have a new equilibrium point, right? So what is possible? What is possible is we have our new demand line. Okay, oh, now we have our intersection with the original supply curve. And what we see now is at a price of $10, okay, 32 books would get sold. And that now becomes my maximum amount sold at the highest price possible. Okay, that's my new equilibrium. So I've been able to expand the market, right? I'm selling more books now at $10. So that's more of an incentive for sellers to participate, right? For more people to go and give up that textbook because now they can sell it for $10. So because that price has increased, right, that's an incentive for sellers. More sellers have come on board. At the same time, we have more demand, so the market's able to sustain that price, okay, and 32 books could now be sold. Good? So let's go look at it here, okay? If we're looking at how the price might be set, I'm talking about face masks here. So how is the price set for face masks? So here I'm at point A, that's my equilibrium, okay? And I have my regular supply of face masks, and they're normally sold for a particular price, okay? And I can use these numbers here, or I can make my own numbers. But how is the supply determined? Okay, so the supply is determined by the demand of the people, right? So if I'm looking at face masks, it would be the demand from users, right? So woodworkers, people working in doctors, um, people that need protection, right? And I used to have, a pretty predictable market, and I would know how many masks I'd need to make a year and how I would be selling them. And I might have a diversified product line and sell not just masks, but maybe other things as well, hospital gowns or shoes or hair covers. So, it would be very predictable, right? I would have competition. I would be trying to, make my mask better than others, but it's pretty steady. The price is pretty much set by the market. Okay, so there's expectations, right? We have that equilibrium price. Back in the day, I could get, a face mask. I don't know, maybe it'd be like $1.25 if I went down to the local hardware store, and they'd have, some that I could choose from, and yeah, and there'd be different levels, right? I can get a cheap mask for $1.25. I can get like a full face thing with a bigger filter if I was working maybe with sprays or something on a project. So there was choices depending on my needs. So there's diversity of product, but it was pretty much determined from the demand, right? If people wanted it, I would make it. It was available, and they set the price. Okay. Moving on to number 4. Now we have COVID-19 leading to a sudden increase in demand, right? Now suddenly everybody wants face masks. So what's happening at my point B is face masks have become more expensive, okay, in terms of price, and in terms of supply, everybody now is scrambling to make face masks. So even clothing companies such as H&M that used to make fashion are now making face masks. And car companies that used to make car seats are now making face masks. So everybody's now trying to meet that new demand by increasing that supply. And as a result, there's also the incentive of a higher price point, right? So it's worth my while now to jump into this innovation, right? So if we're looking at the market mechanisms that led to the creation of point B, we have a virus, right? So the virus is there. It's created a need for the good. Consumers are demanding it. Businesses are responding. So there we see that evidence of the invisible hand. Okay. And what do you think is going to happen in the next 2 months? So you get to think about that yourself and why, right? So let's say it's going to be August. Let's see, it's April, May, June. It'll be June. Are we still going to have that original demand curve? You think it'll be even bigger? Is that going to become our new normal? You guys get to think about that. Okay, next we'll come back and take a look at supply.